And we are back on the chosen journey. And this is the journey of life, the journey of baseball with Big Money Grip, Steve Carsey, and the chosen lawyer. Off air, Steve, we were talking about last week. And I said I had a big surprise for you. And there was a certain topic that really hit a nerve a few weeks back. And our viewers wrote in and they debated with one another. You set off a real firestorm. And I asked you, I'm going to give you one guess. What do you think that topic was? And your answer was?
Youth baseball.
You would be 1,000 correct on that one, sir. Readers wrote in about under 12 baseball clips, and 14,000 of you were watching it, and you were writing about it. So people feel very, very strongly about this subject matter. Steve, before we get to the actual comments, because we got some doozies here, gotta ask you, why did this topic you think hit such a nerve with people?
That's a great question, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. I just think it's really important to understand about youth baseball, about what it entails, about how to go about it and find a team, what's best for your child, no matter what it is, boy or girl, volleyball, baseball, softball, football, hockey. I think parents can sometimes be over the top, especially at a young age. This is it's about the development, about the kids, about them enjoying the game. And I have to take a step back on myself, seeing the game from a different prism than the parents. You know, I'm super tough on Kingston when we play, and he's held to a higher standard because I'm the coach of the team, and he understands that and he knows that. But it still can be very difficult as a dad to put a little bit of pressure on your son and do that. And I've continued to learn through the process of taking a step back and teaching them as the game is going on. Not worried so much about winning and losing as opposed to the development of the boys and learning. And it's learning not only about baseball, but it's learning about life. It's life lessons learned through baseball. How to be a leader, you know, how to be accountable for your actions, how to understand and work as a group and as a team. There's so many life lessons through sports in general that these boys and girls can learn as they move through the ranks and as they, move through life to teach them as they get older and get into the real world. Because as we both know, and as many parents should probably know, there's a finite group of boys and girls that get to move on and play college baseball, professional baseball, and ultimately big league baseball. It's something that just doesn't happen too frequently, and you know, uh, we just don't want to steal their youth about the excitement and having the opportunity to learn and grow and develop within youth sports.
And for background for our viewers, so those that have not heard before, Kingston is your son. How old is he now?
Yep. He's 12. He's turning 13 at the end of the year.
Now, understanding background wise, folks. So, Steve, having played professional baseball, MLB baseball, coached in professional baseball at the MLB level as well in the minors, now coaching Kingston's team. Do these kids understand how lucky they are? Like they literally fell into Christmas as far as getting the level of experience and knowledge that you can spread to them, because not every kid gets the experience of what you're providing, right? Do they all and the parents realize like what they have here as far as what you're bringing to the table? I know you're very modest, so you're not going to brag about that, but let's be honest. For an average 12-year-old, 11-year-old in the United States that's going to youth baseball, they're not getting a Steve Carsey coach.
Yeah, some do, some don't. A lot of the boys, look at me as Kingston's dad. They don't really look outside the box of he did this or he did that. And they're super young, right? They're 12 years old. They're starting to get into their own and understand a little bit more, especially with, you know, YouTube and, videos and things like that that they're able to look up. They can Google me and do that, and they can see all of the different things. But overall, when they were 11, probably not. It's just like, oh, that's just Kingston's dad. He's teaching us baseball and he's trying to do that. But as you have more conversations and, I just sometimes don't think the parents understand the full ramifications of the development part of it. Everybody wants to win the ring, everybody wants to win the first place trophy around your neck. But sometimes you don't win those, but the battles that are won is that your boy understands uh, what learning lesson was for that tournament. Whether he was in the wrong spot or whether he could have went after a ball a different way or whether you could have turned a double play instead of trying to get the guy at home or whatever that might be. Like the parents these days that I've come across, um, you know, they want to put their boys in the best position to succeed, but sometimes they put too much pressure on them from the outside to succeed instead of letting the coach take care of that on the field. And, the question is, do they understand? Uh, my honest answer, being in this for such a short time, I think some are more equipped to understand, who understand the game of baseball, where some of the other ones they just don't. And then there's different levels of youth baseball, right? There's recreational baseball where it's one practice a week, one game a week. You don't have to put any extra work in and do that. Then there's something a little bit above that, which is called pony baseball, and then there's club baseball or club hockey or club football, where it becomes more serious and these boys have a passion for it. And I think that's what it comes down to. Does the youth have a passion for the game that they're playing and want to do more than what is expected of them than just a practice and a game standpoint? Does a boy want to go out and take extra batting practice? Does a boy want to go out and take extra ground balls when you get to this age, 13, 14, 15? Because as you get older, and I try to teach these young men as they're coming into their teens, when I'm not around and I'm not your coach, coaches in high school are going to be a lot tougher than I am. You know, I'm tough. Like, listen, I'm probably tougher than most on a baseball field because I've been in it for so long, and I've taught young men. Like when I say young men, 18 to 21, 22 to 25, and then grown men. And I just talk to them different. I have a explanation for them differently. But I take that into the youth portion of this, and I try to get them understand a little bit quicker so they can be a little bit higher on the curve, because I'm teaching them what is going to be expected in high school. I'm going to be teaching them what is expected if they're fortunate enough to get to the next level after high school. And that's what cutoff man to hit, what double cuts are, how to run a proper rundown, how to communicate on a baseball field, what you're supposed to say, like all of the little things that may go missed with other coaches for whatever reason. I think I'm able to bring to the table and help these young men. So, in a nutshell, I think some parents understand a little bit more than others, and some parents, unfortunately, think you know, boys are going to get a scholarship from a college tomorrow or next week if they have a great tournament on a weekend.
And there's a lot of issues that goes around youth sports, and a lot of it talked about in the comments we'll get to is the money aspect of it. And is it about money, or is it really, bringing these kids along? And I will give you credit, Steve. When you're talking about trying to give life lessons and everything else, it's not about winning that game. At that age, it doesn't really matter. It matters about learning the fundamentals. And I think this is a bigger picture for all of life. Like I can tell you as a lawyer, I got called to the bar over 20 years ago. I meet new lawyers out of bar school now. I'm scared to death. Like they don't have the fundamentals. They don't want to put the time and study, get experience. They just think they got their degree, so they are as good as anybody now, and they don't want to pay their dues. There's an expression about paying your dues, the value of paying your dues. And Whether you want to be a professional baseball player, you want to be a plumber, whatever you want to do in life, it all comes down to the best people in every given profession are the ones that when they were young, they put their head down and all they cared about was getting experience and knowledge and getting better at their craft rather than saying, I'm the best, hand me everything now. And I think that's a bigger, speaking of the epidemic we have in our society as a whole right now, as far as the youth not having those correct expectations, but really that comes down to what they were taught at home in a lot of cases, and parents enabling their kids versus and you and I in our generation, parents would say, listen, Jimmy, you haven't accomplished anything yet, you need to work hard. I don't hear parents now teaching their kids that same value anymore.
Yeah, I've come across a saying that I really love. And I read this in one of the facilities that I take Kingston to. And the sign was an uncoachable kid is an unemployable adult. So if he's not coachable on the field, you know, he's probably not going to learn the lessons that he needs to do in the job, and he's going to be an unemployable adult. So it's one of the lessons that I try to teach the boys. Like a coach, you want to be coachable. You want to be that boy or girl who listens, who takes direction, who understands. Because again, these are things that are going to help you as you continue on in life.
Amen, amen. Well, let's jump into our viewers because I want to share some of their comments with you. I picked 10 or so of my favorite ones. No real particular order here, but I think you'll enjoy them. And I haven't shared them with you. You have not seen these, right, Steve? This is
I
the
have
first time.
not.
The first
I
time
have
you're
not.
hearing these. I'm
Yes.
really curious to hear your reactions and some stuff they're talking Latin in here, but you have been in youth baseball. It'll hit you guaranteed immediately. So first one, 2 Louis 2147 writes in. Totally agree. What happened to Little League Baseball? Steve, did something happen to Little League Baseball?
A lot has happened to Little League Baseball. When I would say our age group grew up, we had you know, neighborhood baseball, right? Our town baseball. They had baseball fields. Kids from the town signed up. They split them up into whatever it was 11, 10 or 11 kid teams, and then they played the games. What's changed is the aspect of, in my opinion, the money making is all of these people who've seen this and want to take advantage of it is putting together teams. They're making it easier. They buy the uniforms, they do the tournaments, and they charge a fee for it. And again, the fee can be fairly high for parents whose kids may be really good but can't afford that type of baseball. So they play rec baseball, which rec baseball then gets watered down or eliminated. And that's where did Little League go? Well, it's gone to club baseball where parents are now paying for the instruction or paying for the better coaching or paying for what they think is better coaching than what they would get in, uh, you know, what I hear today is called daddy ball, is where dad coaches a team and then the kids just play, have fun, and do that. It's become more competitive, and Little League Baseball has now, transcended into club baseball where these boys play together, they get to travel, and then a lot of the parents think that just because they're on these teams, they're going to get looked at a little bit more and they're going to get, a scholarship sooner than later.
There you have it, folks. Man on the Run 05 writes in, haha, so why you keep recruiting them at that age? Now, Steve, let's take it, for example, in places like the Dominican or Venezuela. How young are scouts really scouting at that point?
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, I know for a fact that teams have commitments from 13-year-olds. They're not allowed to sign them until they're 16. But the best players in the Dominican, Venezuela, are international players, and they're able to go out and put on a showcase. And when they turn 16, there's 3, 4, 5 teams lined up offering them, six figures, seven-figure dollar values to come into the organization at such a young age. That's not quite how it happens in the United States. Obviously, the United States doesn't have any international bonus pool money. It's a world not a worldwide draft, but a draft within the confines of what Major League Baseball allows. And you know, NCAA, which is college, has now made a new rule that no college coaches or players or families are allowed to be in contact with each other until I think it's the spring season of their junior year. It used to be where colleges can go and see freshmen at 15 or 16 and get a verbal commitment for them to come to school, where now you just can't have contact with them or it's a violation. So they're trying to circumvent some of the stuff that has gone wrong, and now just trying to let these kids play to get to the age. But the international stuff is a completely different animal, and they're allowed to go and scout them as young as 13, 14, to try to talk them into you know joining that organization when they get to the right age of 16 to sign.
So that worldwide draft, which I'm sure is coming as well. Kevin J. Spencer, you're going to love this comment. He really put a lot of detail into here. So, Steve, you have to translate some of this stuff into English because this is Latin to me. But there are no D1 college coaches going to a 14U tournament in Surprise, Arizona. I don't know where Surprise is, but it's a
Yeah,
real
it's
place.
next to Scottsdale. It's right where you were at, about 30 minutes from the Scottsdale area.
Okay, so there's a place called Surprise, Arizona, in the middle of summer to scout games. If they need a third baseman, they can go to the transfer portal where there are currently over 3,000 players looking for a school to land at. Stop playing travel ball after 12U. Get in the gym, get stronger, develop your glove and footwork skills, and prepare yourself for high school baseball.
I don't disagree with his comment. There are no scouts going in the middle of summer looking at 14U baseball tournaments. They have all of these other showcases that these 14, 15, 16s can go to, which are perfect game, and other showcases that they can go to that they can pay a lot of money to get their analytics put and then put into some type of online portal for people to look at. At the end of the day, no scout or no college coach is going to look back and ask you what your stats were in 12U, 13U, or 14U. It just doesn't really matter. I think there's value in playing club baseball at these ages. I just don't hold so much stock into it as opposed to what a kid's going to be long term, because bodies change, kids change. Kids don't know their bodies until they're 14 anyways, or 15. Yeah, they're going through these growth spurts. They become, you know, uh, awkward at some stages because they grow so fast. Puberty hits kids, and the maturation level is so different between the ages of 12 and 15. The late bloomers come along later who throw harder. Just because you're the best at 12 doesn't mean you're going to be the best at 13. You might just be bigger and stronger than everybody at 12, or bigger than stronger at everybody at 13. And then later in life, you stay the same, and the other kid who's here passes you up. And that's just life in general of how kids grow. So his assessment, I would agree with wholeheartedly, for the majority of what he said. And the fundamentals, the footwork, the athleticism, all of that is super important to build a foundation to get to where you want to go.
Another guy who agrees with you and agrees with him is Gabriel Mananzo. He writes in, as a high school coach, 100 agree. Kids' parents get caught up on playing tournaments, etc., and not, in caps, enough on developing skills, strength, and just learning the game. Then get frustrated when they struggle in high school.
Yep. I mean, that's it. Listen, at the end of the day, I'll put it in layman's terms with what he's saying. I could collect the best 11 players that are 13 years old, run them out on the field, and just roll bats and balls out there, and they're going to beat pretty much every other 13-year-old team and win every tournament. But if they're not learning the fundamentals and they're not learning what positions to be on the field and how to rotate on the field, when they get to high school and everybody else knows that besides them, they're going to be lost and they're going to have failure and adversity. And whether that boy can handle that is going to be something to be determined. But he's right. Like, at the end of the day, that's what I'm all about, is teaching and developing, you know, what and where we need to be on the field. Like, that's our first practices, is being able to throw to the bases, learning your cutoff man, learning how to do double cuts, and being there. Because when the fences are a little bit further and you need to get to the ball and do that, that's, you need to know where to throw the ball, and that becomes baseball IQ, and that is ultimately what high school coaches look for, and that's kind of what I'm trying to provide. And that's, again, up to the parents. Like, is that what they want, or is it the first place trophy that they want every weekend when they go to tournaments, like this gentleman was saying, and walk home feeling good about themselves because they're just more talented than the rest of the field at this certain age.
And this is the theme that kept going over and over as the comments kept flooding in. Hit Attack wrote in, I agree it's a money grab, exclamation mark. If you don't develop them with the right skills, it's a waste of time. G. Gordon Gibbons, elite 8-year-old baseball team with laughing emojis.
Yeah, like, listen, it's the same concept over and over. Listen, your 8-year-old, it's great that they're winning. It's great that they love the game. It's great that they're, you know, uh, better than some other 8-year-olds who haven't developed yet. And listen, this is the age where they should start learning the little things, the proper technique to field a ball, the proper technique to throw a baseball. Their hands aren't big enough at 8 years old to grip a regular baseball and throw it. Understanding how to shuffle their feet. Like, those are the basic things at 8 years old that they should be, learning. Again, nobody's coming to look at your 8-year-old as they're playing in a baseball tournament and, having it called an elite 8-year-old. Like, I don't know what's so elite about an 8-year-old group of boys, because where are they going to be in 5 or 6 years from now?
McCutcheon Rubin writes in, man, we almost got caught up in this travel ball bleep. I pulled my son out of summer call and took him to Driveline. What's Driveline?
Driveline is another institution or company that develops baseball players, throwing, hitting, different things like that,
Yep.
as opposed to playing in tournaments. So, it's still another level of paying for something, but it's on a more, I would say, a higher level of coaching and understanding with analytical information to give you a baseline of where your boy is at. Now, at what age is that the most appropriate? That's a great question, because, again, boys don't develop their bodies, and it's not always about throwing hard. It's about the proper way of throwing and the proper way of being able to grip a baseball. And at 8, 9, 10 years old, these boys' hands aren't big enough to be able to grip the ball the proper way and rotate it the proper way. So, again, Driveline's a great institution, a great way for boys to learn and get higher level coaching. It just depends, like I said, at what age is it appropriate, depending on the size of your boy.
And folks, let's remember, between the ages of 6 to 12, 13, 14, they want to learn to ride a bike. They want to play video games. They want to watch TV. They want to go hang out with their friends. They want to go to the mall. They want to go to movies. These are still kids doing kids things. They don't want to be doing baseball 24/7 always, But that's where I would say internationally they have a big advantage, because you're sitting in a Dominican and your family lives not in a mansion. They often live in squalor, and to get off that island and get the family ahead, it's learning the fundamentals of baseball, and they don't have always a TV to watch. They don't have movies to go to. So all they have is to play stickball with their friends. And that's where they're learning at a different age, different fundamentals, right? Going next to J Corn 20, 100% accurate. 10 years ago, there was a handful of travel organizations. Now they've flooded every area and talent is so watered down. True?
Very true. I agree with that 100%. Um, that's the difference. And that's where it becomes, in my opinion, again, a money grab. You know, certain teams haven't, certain organizations have teams, but they have three different levels of teams. So a team will have a 12U gold team, a 12U blue team, and a 12U red team. So they have 36 players at 12U, and they put them as they identify on each one of these teams on their talent level. So, you know, when you have three teams within one organization, you're taking away talent to go play somewhere else. So in Arizona, it's the same thing. Is, you know, you have so many of these organizations popping up and, you know, promising you the other end of the world and the gold at the end of the rainbow, and the parents buy into it and they go and pay $300, $400, $500 a month for their kid to go play, but don't learn the fundamentals. And then they get mad when they're not on the top team in that organization and they're on the bottom team, and they figure out, you know, what are we paying for on this? And they're not learning the fundamentals, and, you know, uh, am I just wasting money or whatever? But you have all of these teams and there's not enough kids. So you're getting kids from rec baseball who haven't learned the proper way to play, and you're trying to put them into club baseball, and they're just getting run over. And everything gets watered down because you just don't have the best talent playing against the best talent. It's mixed talent playing against mixed talent. And that's where I think it hurts the boys in learning the game and doing that, where people are just trying to make as much money as they can.
And the money aspect on the last couple of comments here, there's three of them. I'm going to read them off to you. Money, money, money. Nikki's dad, $200 to $300 a month is cheap. Laughing emoji. Tyson, let's go. Try 4,100 for the season and still have to buy the $500 uniform package. NWDS. I had to look this up on Urban Dictionary. I think that means no way dog, dog being DAWG. And Roan305 writes in, we have been preaching the same recruiting thing for years. The only exception has been a top overall 5%. Because of COVID, major power 5 types are having to start looking at kids their frost year. They are looking 4 to 5 years out and offering. And by the way, in our area, a typical summer ball team is $2,000 to $5,000 per kid, depending on the team, and that does not include travel expenses.
100%. I mean, the 2 to 5,000 is just really for the coaching and to rent the field, and, you know, for other things. You still have to pay for tournament fees. You still have to pay for uniforms fees. Yeah, you still have to pay for the travel expenses if you're going to go to a different city or a different state to play in these tournaments. So, you know, they're right, and that's kind of, you know, where it boggles my mind a little bit of, you know, the way some of these parents think that it's just the next best and better thing. The more money you pay, the better your son's going to get. That's not factually true. You know, you have to, like I said, teach the fundamentals, teach the proper way to do these things. You know, I'm not an organization. I'm doing it obviously because of Kingston and wanting to teach them the proper way. And then I'm trying to, you know, whether you want to call it recruiting or just get some kids who have some talent that want to learn the game the right way. I'm a one-off team. I don't charge anything for my coaching. My assistant coaches, we don't charge anything. We charge the boys' parents equally to pay for the tournaments that we're in. They have to buy their uniforms. And then we have a professional hitting coach, believe it or not, that I've asked to join. And we pay him per family a fee for his services. And that's it. I mean, if I would have to guess what our fees are for the fall, probably pay anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 per family or per kid uh, for the fall season, which is going to be August, September, October, and November. For 4 months, that's what they'll pay. And that averages out to like $400 a month, right? For everything. I'm talking uniforms, our fees for tournaments and pony, and our fees for the hitting guy who's putting his time and effort in. I'm doing it to pass it forward and to teach the boys and to try to get the boys who are passionate about the game to the next level. And that would be the high school level. And I've always said the best compliment I could get is if a high school coach goes to one of my boys and says, "Hey, where did you learn how to do this? Because this is the proper way to do it." That would be the biggest, uh, you know, compliment that I could get as a coach.
And we've talked about this before, and being a parent to your son Kingston, and the importance of being a dad. You're not sitting right now in a pennant race in the Brewers clubhouse or on the bullpen, because it was more important to you to spend time with your son and help him through these years. And I commend you on that, because not everybody makes that decision or is able to. And it's just a very different mindset. So as a parent, I salute you, Steve, for those efforts. And it's nice to hear from the viewers and as far as their thoughts on it. And it's nice that, you connected with them and be able to speak out, because it is a topic that's not talked about enough, like you said. And my estimation, seeing where generally society has gone and where these type of issues come up, I think this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
Yeah, and listen, me coaching my son doesn't come with its challenges. There's always challenges that a father and a son have when you're trying to give instruction and you're trying to improve them at this age. And the other thing I would say to the parents who are looking for travel baseball is I would do your homework. I would do the research. I would look up the organization. I would look up what they have done. I would look up what kind of coaching they have, and the coach's background that is going to be coaching your son's team. And then, what the biggest mistake is the parents need to ask questions, and the questions being, like, what is your philosophy? To the coach, and have him explain the philosophy, because the coach is always asking the parents, what does your son bring to the table? Like, is he coachable? What positions does he play? All of this. But a lot of times the parents never ask the coach, like, hey, what's your philosophy? What are you teaching? What's more important to you, winning or developing? Like, you will get a lot of answers from a coach to see if that's the right place for your son to play the game of baseball, or to play the game of hockey or football or whatever sport it might be. Is the answers a coach who will be coaching your son will give you, and then you have to read between the lines and see if that's beneficial for you, or if he's just trying to blow smoke to get you to come over here, or if he's trying to sell you on coming to his team for whatever the price is. Like, that's the part of this that's really tough and really hard for parents, because some parents just don't know, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's part of the growing process, and understanding the best spot that you can put your son in or daughter.
And if I could just throw in one last part, I think it lost a lot in the world of sports and the competitiveness and everything else, and thinking their kids are gonna, high school, college scholarships, make the big leagues, etc. Is remember they are a kid, and it's okay to have fun too, and don't suck the fun out of it. Because one thing I've known, and I've sat enough of those stands and arenas, etc., when those parents are yelling at their kids and putting a lot of pressure, and the kids are crying on the bench there, it's not the best feeling in the world. So let's all remember, it is a game, it's a kid's game, and let's have some fun with it too.
Yeah, absolutely. There needs to be a balance between the competing portion of it and then having fun. And as I said, I don't have all the answers, and I've been growing and learning in that aspect too. Of these boys are boys, and they're gonna have fun, and but I still want to hold them accountable and develop leaders within the team so they can use those to move on in life.
Amen, amen, amen. So viewers, thank you very much for sharing your comments. And please, always feel free to share your views. We'd love to hear from you. Share the comments, share with your friends, and we'd love to hear from you. And you never know when your comments are going to appear on the Chosen Journey. Steve Carsey, thank you for your expertise and wisdom in the world of baseball and life. And really, everybody appreciates the time you put into the program. And we'll be back next week, and we'll see where the journey takes us.
Well, I love doing it. It's been fantastic. And one thing I'd like to throw out there as you're getting these comments, I would love for the viewers and the people who are listening to write to you and maybe come up with a topic that they would like us to discuss, about, the journey, about what they think is important to them and what they would like us to dive into and see what, would come out of that. Because I would enjoy other people giving us a topic or two, to dig into and, continue the journey, as we say.
Well, Steve Carsey has opened up Pandora's box. So, folks, it's open season now. What do you want to see on the program? What do you want to hear us talk about? Mainly Steve, of course. And we'd love to hear from you. And Steve, one day we'll be starting off episodes, and I'll be telling you, if you wrote in, this is going to be the topic. So be careful what you ask for. You're about to get it.
Perfect. And if we pick your topic, maybe we'll give you a parting gift.
People like free stuff. So, okay, stay tuned, folks. You never know.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. We'll talk soon.